Alright, it's time for the second bonus episode of Suikoden. We're starting off with the sound effects because I didn't listen to all of them back at the fortress. I got most of the collectible extras like the old books and the paint and whatnot, but of course one was missing. That one, of course, is the percussion sound effect set. The animals and the squeaky noises are okay, but I'm not really fond of the others, outside of default. Anyway, here are all of the Unite attacks, including the magic Unites. So yeah, some of these range from really cool looking to like that one's pretty good. I'd say that's a little above average. Then there's this one, which honestly isn't really worth using Jupo for, because he's kind of a bad character, like one of the worst in the game. Anyway though, Unite attacks are pretty good. They of course generally require using characters who have some relation to one another somehow, usually through story, like these two for example. It should be obvious that these two have a Unite attack. Some are a little less obvious, and the one I can think of off the top of my head is my absolute favorite, though this one's close second. I don't know what Humphrey and Grin have to do with one another, but, like, that's cool as hell. Oh, no, wait, no, sorry. That one was cool as hell. The Humphrey Grin one was just hilarious, because I like it when Grin gets owned. Okay, this one rules, though. Ronnie Bell fucking Shoryuken's an enemy off screen. That's not an insta-kill. They do hit the ground eventually. She just makes them fuck off for a while with a fucking Hadouken, and it's great. Other than the fact that they both punch, I wouldn't guess that Pawn and Ronnie Bell had a Unite attack together. Also, Pretty Boy attack is pretty good. Yes, that's the actual name of it. The triple Unite attacks are a little less obvious. Also, this one's out of character, so it's not one I would guess exists. Pirate Attack's one of the more obvious ones, I would say. This one's weird, though, and kind of not really useful. Flash Attack doesn't do that much damage, and, well, actually, to be fair, that's because they probably didn't have much strength, but it also unbalances all of them. This one rules, though. I believe this is Martial Arts Attack, which you kinda just fucking aura everyone off screen. Alright, so this is Blacksmith Attack. It requires 4 people, therefore cannot be used in the endgame, which is stupid, and I hate it, because this is the most powerful attack, Unite-wise. It's not the best animation, but it's not bad, and it does a fuck ton of damage. Alright, so, Magic Unite attacks. In order to pull them off, you have to use 2 different level 4 magic spells. The ones you can use were listed in the Old Book Volume 2, and of course you can see them here. So, how these work is basically, the faster of the 2 characters actually uses their magic in terms of attack. It's not like their magic is combined when attacking. So basically, the best characters for Magic Unite attacks are fast mages. That being said, though, that's not a very good attack. That's Thor. It's the only single-target Magic Unite attack, which makes it kinda bad, because there's another Magic Unite that does attack the entire enemy team and heal you at the same time. Yes, it's not as damaging, but at the same time, single target isn't that good, and of course, because both of the level 4 spells in that instance are multi-target, that means you can't actually choose your target. Basically, in order to actually aim Thor, you have to have a faster lightning rune user, because the level 4 lightning rune spell is Ball of Thunder, or whatever it's called, which is the only one that you can actually target with. Otherwise, yeah, it's just you attack the first enemy in line, which in that instance wasn't the best enemy to attack. So yeah, those are all the Unite attacks, so we're gonna end off this LP for real with one final bath. I figured since we didn't actually get a chance to give this team time to bathe, we'll say this is the after-mission bath. We'll just let them relax, and we'll talk about stuff that I didn't get to talk about throughout the course of the game. Bath-wise, of course, we've seen most of the, character-specific stuff, with the exception of Fuma. Fuma has a special sprite for bath scenes, because he's actually fully submerged, and he just has, a chute of bamboo to breathe through. So yeah, if you bring him into the bath, then he'll do that. As for antiques, the flowers will blossom if we have 6 of the vases. If we have the magic lamp, a little cloud will appear, which I guess is supposed to be a genie. And of course, the peeing boy antique will, pee. Now, I believe I did mention this before, but I wasn't kidding when I said you could turn your bath into hell, and no, this doesn't count. This is actually tame. When you have 6 hex dolls, their eyes will start to glow. Oh, but that's not the worst thing that can happen. If you then add 2 graffitis on top of that, the room grows dark, the graffiti paintings start bleeding, an ominous theme starts playing, and everyone turns blue because they're terrified because they're in hell. Now, I don't feel like grinding to actually pull that off because that would just take far too long. Well, it probably wouldn't take that long, but I don't feel like doing it. Grinding for antiques is the worst. But that being said, it is better to see it in motion. So I'm going to link to something in the description, because annotations don't exist anymore, YouTube. Thanks for that, those were useful, but hey, if you just want to get rid of useful stuff, that's fine too, whatever, I'm not bitter. Anyway, though, there's a video by, I believe it's Brad Rye the Gaming Mole, who just has, all of the, bath scenes, in a video, so you can see all of that if you want to, but obviously hell is the main draw, because it's much more terrifying in motion than I make it sound. It's kind of the worst thing. I don't want to subject everyone to that, especially in the last bonus episode. Right, so, as for various secrets throughout the game, there's a whole lot of hidden scenes that I missed, either because I forgot them or I didn't know they existed in the first place. So, there's apparently 100 bits in armor across from Craze's office at the start of the game. Apparently there's a scene in Kaku if you try to enter by boat after you fight Tio. I don't know what that could be, though. Apparently there is a scene that happens if you somehow don't have 200 bits when you go to Ante to see Vincent go by. Now here's something that I could have actually done but didn't. You can apparently go to the Old Liberation hideout, which I might actually put that in post here because I think I still have the chance to do that. Next off is a secret that, again, I never knew about. Apparently, Kryn and Stallion both have unlimited uses of an escape talisman. However, here's the thing. It's only the escape talisman they start with, it's not a natural ability. In addition, if you put their escape talismans into the storehouse, then they lose their ability to be used an infinite number of times. So, rather than do what I did and, put them in the storage, trade them to Mir. I mean, that's yet another bit of his inventory taken up, but if it really is limitless, then, hell yeah, you should just keep that forever, then you never need to buy another escape talisman. Not that they're that useful, considering how the worst places in the game can't be teleported out of, including the final dungeon, so I don't know why they bother selling escape talismans outside. But hey, it's not like I made this video game, and oh my god, I gotta stop being passive-aggressive. That's twice this episode. Apparently, you can talk to Craze before your audience with the Emperor. Pawn, Cleo, and Sonia all have their own diaries you can look through, but of course you can't see those later on. You can annoy Craze by talking to him repeatedly before the Rockland mission. You can take the bandits to Craze instead of Grady. That's probably not the best idea. So yeah, that's just a whole lot of bits and pieces off of Suiko's source of scenes I missed, which it is a bit of a shame, but again, a lot of them I forgot existed, and some of them I just didn't know existed at all. Another thing that Suiko's source didn't actually list is apparently, like, you can approach Gremio when he's making a stew at the start. I learned that from Smite's stream. But yeah, there's just a whole lot of little things that I never actually knew about that I apologize for not actually saying, but, you know, I didn't know they existed, and, like, I'm not replaying the entire game just for a bunch of small scenes. Sorry! Other than that, though, I guess real quick, I guess I'll mention why I don't like Song Jiang, since I'm probably not going to talk about Water Margin in Suikoden 2, since that game diverges from Water Margin even more than this game did. It's really just the whole 108 Stars of Destiny thing, and, like, sort of a few story beats, but anyway, Song Jiang I really didn't like because there's two reasons he's a criminal. The initial one is because he killed, Jan Poxy, I believe her name is? Or was? I believe they were married. They were definitely in a relationship. They just didn't really like each other at all. But the reason he kills her is because she finds a letter that would implicate him, so she's blackmailing him, which he would have gone along with her demands, though, other than the fact that she was really demanding about money he didn't have, and she didn't believe him that he didn't have it. So he then murders her by decapitating her with, I believe, a knife, so that's kind of fucked up. But it's not even the murder as much that I dislike about him. I mean, there are a lot of murders in Water Margin. It's the fact that he's able to get out of the murders because he has a lot of friends, even in the court system, and they're like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like something he'd do. And even when he is arrested, they're still like, I don't think we should put him to death. He's a good guy. He's alright. Like, it's not until he ends up, drunkenly writing a poem on the wall, which is confused for, like, a threat of revolt, that someone's like, hey, we should probably kill him. At which point, he's taken to the gallows or whatever, and then he's rescued. So, yeah, that's the second part. Like, the second part's unreasonable, of course. Like, you know, obviously it's a misunderstanding that, you know, ends up with him actually rebelling. But, you know, that's just a person being mad at him. It's the fact that he's in jail in the first place that bothers me, because, like, the whole thing is that, like, officials can be corrupt, and that you shouldn't listen to them all the time if they're assholes. You know, the whole thing is about trust between people, you know, more because they deserve it, not because of their station, per se. And then you have a character who skirts the law because he's friends with a whole lot of people. Again, I know I mentioned this earlier. I am reading it from a modern perspective, and it does make sense within the story for people to trust him, and therefore let him off the hook, but, like, that's kind of bullshit that in a story where it's like, yeah, here's these corrupt officials, that you then say, well, it's not corrupt when this guy murders a woman, and then gets away with it, to have the officials be like, well, you know, he's cool. He wouldn't do a murder normal. He had his reasons. Come on, it's Song Jiang. He doesn't do a murder that often. Let him off the hook, guys. It is a very interesting story. I will admit, it is really interesting that it's a little more morally gray than Suikoden, which, you know, obviously gets into the whole war is horrible because people die, but, like, the Liberation Army is clearly in the right, even if war is a terrible thing, and ends with sorrow and death. If you're looking at, you know, which side is actually right, the Empire commits elf genocide, the Liberation Army stops them from committing more elf genocide. Or genocide of other fantasy races that mostly disappear in the second half of the game. So, clearly the Liberation Army is in the right, whereas Water Margin, they all become brigands and bandits. So, of course, they are doing crimes, and they do frequently do crimes, yet they're still the good guys, and I do find that a bit interesting. I'll admit, I like Mir over Song Jiang. Despite the fact that Mir has almost no personality, it's mostly implied because, of course, he is a silent protagonist, and silent protagonists rarely work. But, Mir is legitimately wronged, and he has a reason to join the Liberation Army, and, again, it's implied that he is brave and a good leader, and, there's that one part where he fell to his knees when Gremio died. There was a little bit of personality there. But yeah, for the most part, the characters are all fairly good people. Even when they are actually bandits, they're really not bad bandits. Like, they do a bit of stealing, but for the most part, they're fairly, maybe not just, but like, they're good people, like Farkas and Sidonia. What have they ever done wrong? Meanwhile, in Water Margin, one of the earlier chapters has one of the characters who, I forget the name of them at the moment, but basically he's tasked with killing these bandits, except then, once he defeats them, they're like, oh, please, kill us all together. We're three brothers and we stick by each other at all times. And he's like, whoa, that's rad as hell how much you like each other, and how you want to be together even in the end. So you know what? Actually, I'm going to save your lives and get you out of here. So he then distracts the officials who come asking for the bandits, allowing them to sneak out, and if I remember correctly, he even sets fire to his house? I could be misremembering that, but afterwards the bandits are like, hey, you want to be a bandit with us? And he's like, oh, no. I'll do a crime, but I don't want to be a criminal. Which, yeah, sure. Let's go with that. And then, of course, later on, oh shoot, what's the name of the character who kills the tiger? He's one of the more prominent characters, so I should remember. But anyway, he's going, and he winds up in like a bar or whatever, and this lady serves him a meal, and he's suspicious of it, so he doesn't eat or drink anything. And then as it turns out, I don't remember her name, but I remember her nickname is the Night Witch, which is rad as hell, but this part's fucked up. Basically, she murders people on the road, because she's a bandit, she and her husband, and then they cook the people she kills and feeds them to the next people that come along. And, like, the scene where, person whose name I swear is on the tip of my tongue, he enters the room where that happens, and it's kind of a horrible sight from, the description and all, but then he ends up making friends with them because, like, they have a code of honor, which, to be fair, the Night Witch completely ignores. Maybe not so much ignore, but, like, shoot, he tells her not to kill, priests, prisoners, and prostitutes, I think? I forget why, I just remember there's 3 people she's not supposed to kill. Of course, the character in particular is a prisoner, so he's not supposed to be killed, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's those 3. Priest, I'm also pretty sure, or maybe it's not priest, but monk, because I believe he also mentions that Luda came in and she almost killed him. Luda's another prominent character who, he's certainly a character. But anyway, yeah, she keeps accidentally murdering those 3 types of people, because I guess she just never fucking asks if anybody's a priest or a prisoner or a prostitute. She just fucking kills them, which is pretty great, but also fucked up. It's kinda weird. Wusong. Wusong is the dude's name. I keep forgetting it, but I'm pretty sure I kept getting him mixed up with Song Jiang, because, they both have Song in their name. But yeah, that's the dude, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so he has an interesting journey. I've rambled on far too much about Water Margin, haven't I? Now I kind of wish I was able to keep up with it throughout the LP. Maybe I will attempt it again for Suikoden 2, even if it is a little less relevant. Anyway, though, I've been here for far too long. This has been the bonus episode of Suikoden. That was supposed to be a short bath, but, nope. I don't really have much else to say, and I will keep on rambling, so I'm just gonna cut myself off here. I hope you enjoyed what was essentially a prolonged ramble.